Hello dear students, today we are going to learn about Sebumeter. Now Sebumeter is a device which is used to determine oiliness of your skin. Okay, so excessive oiliness or excessive dryness of the skin, it affects its appearance. So estimation of oiliness is very important. Sebum is produced by your oil glands, sebum glands, which are present on your skin surface. It affects the permeability of skin and also affects the absorptivity of water. It protects against bacteria and fungi and limits absorption of water, and also affects permeation of drugs and other preparations. So measurement of natural presence of sebum on human skin is very important, especially on facial skin. So there are various methods by which you can determine this sebum. Like you can go for using the swabbing by pads which are earlier soaked in organic solvents like hexane or ether, or washing lipid solvents over areas of skin which are then circumscribed by rings or caps. There are n number of methods. Out of this method, a Sebumeter is very widely used for both cosmetic and medical research. Now, what is the use of Sebumeter? A Sebumeter is going to help you to determine the amount of sebum which is present on your skin. It is commonly reported that the units in which the sebum will be reported on the skin, it is correlated with the mass of sebum on the skin in microgram per centimeter square. So what is sebum? A sebum is nothing but it is a heterogeneous like components of sebum. They are produced from secretions of sebaceous glands, fats of keratinous layer, and remnants of perspiration. So it is a combination of material. Okay, so sebum is a complex and variable mixture of lipids like glycerides, free fatty acids, waxes, esters, squalene, cholesterol, esters, and cholesterol. So what is the thing which acts on your sebum is that sebum reduces water loss and provide a protective layer against the fungi, but presence of propionibacterium on the skin, it hydrolyzes the sebum triglycerides and releases the free fatty acids which both acidify the skin and emoliate the skin. This is fine, but if there is excessive secretion of sebum, okay, which is mostly found on the face, neck, shoulders, back, and very low levels on arms and legs, and it is absolutely absent on the soles and feet and palms. If by any chance the composition of the sebum it changes, then it is going to create a problem which will cause increased chances of acne on the skin. There are different techniques, as we have discussed, that you can visually by grading you can tell if there is excessive production of sebum or not. Then there is another method which is called a solvent extraction method, absorbent paper method, bentonite clay method, lipid absorbent tape or film, photometric technique or gravimetric techniques. These are other techniques that can be used to determine the amount of sebum present on the skin surface. Out of all these techniques, Sebumeter is very widely used and it is a photometric technique. So with this device you can determine the oil present on the skin surface, and it is, you have a cassette of a polymeric film that the oil from the skin, it goes onto the polymeric cassette, and the polymeric film, it becomes transparent. So the degree of transparency is measured using photometric technique. Okay, so as if the skin is less oily, less amount of oil will be absorbed and the film will be less transparent, but as more oil is absorbed, the film is going to become more and more transparent, and hence you can determine the oiliness of the skin. Okay, so it is very commonly reported that the output of the device, it correlates directly with the level of the sebum on the skin, and it is given in the units of microgram per centimeter square. Now what are the components of your Sebumeter? So the main component of your Sebumeter is a cassette, and which is also called as Sebumeter probe. The Sebumeter cassette contains a matte synthetic tape which is 0.1 mm thick. The measuring head of the cassette, it exposes 64 mm square section of the tape, and which is transported forward by a trigger which is present at the side of the cassette for the next measurement. The measuring time which is given for each measurement is only 30 seconds, and this is controlled using a clock set in the device. Sebum is then determined using this tape. The instrument has an accuracy of plus minus 5%. The reading of sebum may be displayed as a number of type of skin, if it is dry, normal, oily, or oily. Okay, so what is the mechanism of measurement of sebum using Sebumeter? So the measurement is based on the principle of grease spot photometry. So what is going to happen over here? You have a light source. Okay, through that light source a light will be emitted. Okay, the measuring head of the cassette with its special tape, it is first placed on the skin. The tape becomes transparent depending on how oily the skin is. Then it is inserted into a slot of the device where its transparency is measured by a light source, okay, which will be passing through that tape. Okay, then a photocell is used to measure the transparency. The microprocessor calculates the result and it is displayed on the display. Okay, what are the applications of Sebumeter? It helps you to classify the skin type, if it is dry, normal, oily, okay, objectively. Then it helps you to prescribe pharmaceuticals or cosmetics which are suitable to the patient's skin type, so to increase the efficiency and minimize the side effects. Pre-placement examination for correct analysis of skin type in the field of occupational medicine. For example, if the person of dry skin type may not be suitable to work in chemical industry involving uses of acids and alkalis. It also helps you to make early diagnosis of senile steatosis. It helps you to measure the cleaning effects of soaps, to do preliminary screening and follow-up of patients with hyperandrogenic states, to study the endocrine control of sebaceous follicle in women for assessing hormonal aging, to study the correlation between bad hair days during which most women find their hair difficult to manage, what is the sebum secretion at that time, and it is also related with your menstrual cycle. It also helps you to study sebosuppressive effects of certain anti-acne medicines like retinoic acid, which is used in the treatment of acne vulgaris. It helps you to study the sebaceous gland activity in diabetic patients in whom the activity of the glands is decreased. Now these were the applications. There are some pros and cons of using Sebumeter, but these are few. The major advantage of your Sebumeter is that it is very simple and quick method to determine the amount of sebum that will be secreted, and the instrument is very compact, it is very small, and hence it is very portable, and it requires little training. Any person can use it. The disadvantage is only the cost of this instrument, as well as the consumable, that is the cassette. The cassette is also very costly. So this is the only disadvantage of this method. So this was all about Sebumeter. Thank you.